With the latest round of sanctions aimed at deterring Putin from advancing into Ukraine, many people are wondering if they are actually having an effect on the daily lives of Russians. ABC News foreign correspondent James Longman is on the ground in Moscow right now. And James, have ordinary Russians begun to feel the impact of these sanctions?
The short answer is absolutely, Kyra, and I think there's real concern here about what it's going to mean for their lives. I mean, we've already seen in the last week, essentially a bit of a run on the banks. Something like $10 billion has already been taken out by regular Russian people who are worried that the ruble is crashing. And sanctions are going to mean all kinds of changes to their regular lives. Car parts are now not going to be available for the cars they like to drive. Electronics, the price of electronics is really rocketing, 30%. One major department store has had to raise their prices by 30%. So things like iPhones may not even be available here in Russia. And I think it's really important not to oversimplify society in this country. It's not just that the super rich somehow live in St. Petersburg and Moscow and the rest of the country is full of peasants. I mean, there is quite a developed middle class in this country. There are people all over Russia who like going on foreign holidays, for instance. Many Russians like going to Turkey or to Egypt. You know, they don't necessarily have a lot of money. We're not talking about oligarchs here, but they're just regular people. And yes, all these things are going to start to be much more difficult. I myself actually I've seen a bit of a change. I actually can't use a lot of my cards in a lot of places now because the terminals are not working, because the banks that a lot of businesses are linked to have been sanctioned. My Apple Pay has stopped working. And actually, just when you go into a restaurant here, they will ask you to make sure that you've got cash with you because they're worried about having to make a kind of financial transaction with a card. So yes, the short answer is it's absolutely having an impact here. And the argument that sanctions are a necessary hardship that Russians must undergo in this great war with the West, well, I don't know, a lot of people might believe that, but I think once people are aware of what they could be missing in the future, it's actually not so easy to make that argument anymore. This isn't the Soviet Union anymore. This is the 21st century. Russians enjoy living a modern life, and to say to them that they're going to have to go without, I just don't think that that's going to go down very well. Kyra?
Well, so that brings up the question then. Russians clearly feel a great sense of connection to Ukrainians, to their country also. And there's all this disinformation that's being broadcasted on Russian state TV. You were talking about the protests that were taking place, and all of a sudden you didn't see very many and people were getting arrested. So what is, and I guess the question also is being asked is, even you, a journalist, being allowed to broadcast from there when Putin really wants to take control of the messaging. Are Russians aware of what's really going on? And do you see even your position, your job, sort of in jeopardy here as these moves we start seeing these changes happen?
Well, there's no question that the Russian state media campaign is in full force. The propaganda campaign is in full force. But it's very difficult in 2021, no, we're in 2022, aren't we, to stop people from realizing what's actually happening. And there's actually, the Ukrainians actually know that because they're so close to Russia, they understand the methods they use. And there's actually now a website that the Ukrainians have come up with to list those Russian soldiers who have died or been captured in combat, because that's not something that Russia will ever tell people in this country. So this information war is being waged, but on both sides. And yes, I was out just now actually up at a main square here, Pushkin Square, which is where people normally congregate to protest. And I got to tell you, it was like something out of The Handmaid's Tale. It was like Gilead. I mean, there were riot police everywhere. Well, I'm talking to you now on the banks of the river here. The Kremlin's behind me. Red Square is just there. Red Square has been shut off. You cannot walk over this bridge. They've barricaded it. You can't walk into Red Square and you can't get out the other side. That doesn't tell you that this is a government that is particularly confident about how its war is going. And yeah, we're a bit concerned about what's going to happen to us. They've passed a law here now which makes aiding foreign groups treasonous if it's believed to be undermining the security of the Russian state. That's a very broad law. So what could that mean? Well, could they take away press credentials? We've seen now the European Union has now started to introduce bans on Russian media because they know it's basically propaganda. But what that does is you end up with a Russian government here which will put in reciprocal bans on Western media. So there is a possibility that they remove our visas. For the moment, we're operating freely. We're watching people get arrested in front of us, regular people, men and women, and local journalists. Haven't yet seen any foreign journalists get targeted. That may be something that they decide to do. It's really, really very difficult to guess where Vladimir Putin's head is at the moment. That press conference he gave earlier, or the meeting that was televised with the generals, where he spoke about putting the nuclear deterrent on high alert, that was terrifying. Let's just be honest about it. And I think a lot of Russians found that very terrifying. So at this point, we don't really know what Vladimir Putin's going to do. Kyra?
That seems to be the $50 billion question, is what is he going to do next? And nobody wants to play psychiatrist here, that's for sure. James, we're going to keep close eyes on you. Always appreciate such transparent reporting. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.